Hey,
Hello.
what's up? Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm Mercy.
Nice to meet you. I'm Devin.
Nice to meet you.
Where are you from?
I'm from Houston, Texas. Where are you from?
I'm from Matthews, North Carolina. All right, so what is your favorite song?
I feel pretty basic for saying this, but I really like Billie Eilish. I like listening to her.
I've been listening to a lot of the oldies recently, so like 60s and 70s.
I feel that.
You can never go wrong with it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. This is kind of a downer, but what was the worst part of 2020 for you?
I think the worst part was probably not being able to see a lot of my friends, and a lot of people just grew kind of distant, and so that kind of sucked.
For me, it was, so before quarantine hit, I lost a lot of friendships. Like 3 close friends of mine like dipped. And so then after that, quarantine hit, so I was like stuck alone. I didn't have like a lot of friends to FaceTime or anything. That was probably the hardest thing.
Yeah.
But it was good because I got to grow in that time of being alone, and I was pretty like dependent. Like my identity was dependent on a lot of other people. So it was hard, but it ended up being really good. Yeah, it was.
Would you say that you struggle with your faith at all?
I would say that I used to. So I grew up in a church. I never really experienced my faith because I was pretty like sheltered too. So it was basically church and that was it. I was homeschooled, so I just never really cared to think about it. Like I went to church and didn't think about it. But there was a point where I was questioning if God was even real. I struggled a lot with anxiety. I was having like anxiety attacks, I think once or twice a month. And it was getting really frustrating because like my parents had taught me if I'm struggling in a situation, I should like pray about it and go to God. And I would get really like upset because I would be like, well, here I am having like anxiety attacks like all the time and Jesus isn't helping me, and like I don't do anything like, I mean, I know I sinned, but like I just felt like I wasn't doing anything wrong to deserve it. Growing out of it, it was mostly like I just broke down, and I didn't tell anyone about my anxiety, but I finally did. I opened up to my dad, and it turned out that he had gone through the same thing. Like as a man, he had struggled with it for like 13 years, I think. He prayed over me, and I prayed, like he told me to pray over myself. Like by God's grace, I have no more anxiety. So I prayed those words, just the simplest words. And from then on, I've never had that problem of anxiety, just like believing that by God's grace, I was free from it.
That's so cool how just opening up to someone a little bit and just making that space for prayer really helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you? Did you have anything?
I mean, there's a lot of times when I see like so much pain in the world, and sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so I'm like, and even like you were just saying in the Bible, Jesus is going around and like literally physically healing people. And sometimes I wonder like, why doesn't that happen all over the place today? Especially like when so many people are struggling from COVID-19 and depression and anxiety. I do have times where I do struggle with that.
I have a question. Do you think other people's opinions matter? Like they're greater than your own opinions?
I've kind of learned this as I've grown up, especially going through middle school, that it's good to listen to other people's input, especially if there's someone that you respect or look up to. But knowing the Bible for yourself and just leaning into that, it's helped me a lot not waver when people have other opinions about me. What about you?
I used to, because like I said, I was super sheltered, and so I didn't have a life. I kind of still don't, it's embarrassing. But yeah, whenever I was out with people, I was super quiet because I was scared if I like spoke up or tried to be funny, and like everyone's like, that was dumb. Because I would try to be funny and people are like, hey, shut up. I don't like struggle with opinions today, but listening to people's input is still like really important.
Are there any parts about yourself that you would say you dislike?
Yes, I was just talking about this before we started. I'm very aggressive. I'm very, very aggressive, and I don't mean to be, and I ended up offending a lot of people just because I speak my mind, and it's not good. I'm praying about it, but yeah, I don't like being super aggressive, and I'd prefer to be loving and kind to everyone, so that's something I don't like. What about you?
Actually, the opposite. I'm a pretty easygoing person. That means I let a lot of things slide that I shouldn't, and so a lot of times like I won't stand up for myself, or I'll just be like, oh, it's fine, and really it's not fine.
What's an insecurity that you have never shared?
I have 3 younger siblings. I think something I struggle with a lot is like worrying about if I'm being a good enough example, an older brother to them. So I struggle with that a lot, trying to, be there for them and help support them. But
I'm in like a family of 8 siblings, and I'm the second youngest. Yeah, it's a big family. So like all my siblings are like in every area of the church. My sister's like a worship pastor for the youth. My brother is like, all of my brothers are in church. A couple of my other sisters are pastors. Yeah, I feel always like compared to my siblings, especially since my parents already raised all of them and they're still raising me. I feel like I'm not good enough, or I feel like I have to fill in their shoes when they leave their spots at the church. It's something like I kind of feel like a PK sometimes, but a pastor's kid, but I don't think I've ever shared that with anyone. Yeah, that's an insecurity I have.
how big of a role does social media influence you?
I feel like I'm always on it. So I guess, yeah, it probably influences me a lot because I'm always on it. It doesn't take over like all my life, but like probably a good portion of my life. If I'm doing something, I'm like, oh my gosh, let me take a picture, post it.
Do you think that it kind of affects your confidence or affects your your insecurities?
It definitely does. I feel like it does for everyone, for sure. Like if I see like someone like super pretty, I'll be like, yo, I wish I looked like that. If I see someone like in a relationship, I'll be like, dang, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'd say probably the same thing. I normally spend a lot of time on it, and I'm just like scrolling and scrolling. I mean, the more of like good things about people's life that you see, you're just like, oh man, my day kind of sucked, and they're like at the beach or like whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's nice to know that I'm not alone.
It's definitely something that everyone I feel like deals with, just because it's just a normal thing to have social media be the center of a lot of stuff.
So I guess we're done.
Yeah.
It was nice meeting you. Well, I'll see you around.
All right, Mercy.
Bye.
Bye.
We believe in the youth! Hey guys, make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, because if you don't, then what does Jesus think of you?